What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show powered by BetUS. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers broke their 5-game losing streak as they beat the Bulls 113-102. They finish off their 5-game homestand with a win after getting blown out in 4 straight games. Scoot Henderson continues his stellar play. Avdija returns and the team automatically looks much better. Shaedon Sharpe had a good game but came off the bench as Chauncey Billups decided to bench him due to defensive issues. We're going to have that conversation in a bit as Eric went to the game, and he will be here in about 45 minutes or so it'll be a solo stream until then. And I really want to hold off on having that Shaedon Sharpe conversation until Eric is here because we'll see how heated he gets, you know. This is the type of thing that I don't think Eric will like. So, looking forward to that part of the stream. It is also members night. So, if you're a channel member, shout out to you. I'm releasing a few little things for channel members, but I'll do a couple roll calls for channel members in this stream. Also talk about some updated channel member perks. If you want to become a channel member, click the join button below the stream, and we get to break down a Blazer win in this one. Of course, we'll still do a Tankathon sim. We'll do one without Eric, and maybe we'll do one with Eric just to see if doing it without Eric gives us more luck, because we have not had Tankathon luck as of late. But I'm excited to break down some more good play from Scoot Henderson. You can vote right now in the Player of the Game poll. The options are Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and Avdija. We'll see if Scoot Henderson can win his 4th straight Player of the Game poll. Right now, it looks like that's the case. 137 votes, 77% of them are for Scoot Henderson. Anyway, let me know where you're tuning in from in the live chat tonight. Without Eric, I'm going to pay more attention to chat. At least until he's here. I feel like I don't pay enough attention to chat. Oftentimes I'm making graphics for the bottom ticker or the stream while I'm talking about things, while I'm looking at stats, while I'm looking at a bunch of stuff. So I just want to hang out with you, chat. Let me know where you're watching from. We got Blazer Bruh in the Philippines. We got Eric Olson in Seattle. Let me know where you're checking in from. And let me know your thoughts on this game. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And we're going to do a members only Q&A, all right? We're going to do a members only Q&A. You should see it in the live chat, all right? I'll answer any questions from channel members, all right? So any questions from channel members. Only ask a question here if you're a channel member, but I just opened it, so I'll do, my best to answer those as quickly as possible, but we'll get to every single question that's posted in that Q&A in the live chat. Anyway, the Blazers today shoot 29% from 3. Not good. I got to take the Eric. Nope, that's my camera. The Eric camera out. There we go. The Blazers shoot 29% from 3. And only 47% from the field. I say only. That's pretty good considering how bad they shot from 3. The Bulls, for their own right, shot even worse from 3, worse from the field. The Blazers finally have a good defensive game. The Blazers had been giving up a ton of points as of late. We can just look at the schedule right here. The Blazers, their last 5 games had given up at least 117 points, including a 132-point performance by the Brooklyn Nets, who suck, and then 125 points last night to the Houston Rockets. But the Blazers on the second night of a back-to-back only give up 102 and play some really good defense in this one. Now, the Bulls, they suck. They've now lost 5 games in a row. They are a team that needs to hit the rebuild button. They need to trade Zach LaVine. They need to trade Nikola Vucevic. This is a team kind of stuck in the middle. For all you people that are frustrated with the continuous rebuild the Blazers are in, and maybe some of the 2 timeline stuff like me and Eric are, at least we're not the Chicago Bulls because that team's going nowhere fast. And they have, 10th, 11th best odds right now. And they owe their pick if it's not top 10. It's not a good situation in Chicago, but the Blazers took advantage of that. I mean, we're talking about a team that lost by 18 at home to the Brooklyn Nets, who are even worse than the Bulls are. But the Blazers take advantage of that, play some good defense, sparked by Scoot. I think Sharpe's defense was a bit better in this one after his benching Once again, we'll have that conversation a little bit later. But I think Deni Avdija returning today was also a huge factor in all of that. The Blazers this month, this is something from the broadcast, so I'm going to try and remember off the top of my head. With Deni Avdija on the court, they're outscoring opponents this month by about 14 points, and then I think they're a minus 99 with him off the floor. You can correct me if I'm wrong or if I forgot. But basically, statistically, this team has been much better with Deni Avdija on the floor. This team has been much better with him on the floor. And we talked about it a little bit last night. He's just somebody that can consistently get to the rim. Probably the most consistent Blazer at getting to the rim, drawing and ones, finishing. He had a couple finishes that he smoked today. It kind of looked like early season Avdija, but it's his first game back after missing 3 contests. So, chalk it up to rust. He's been finishing a lot of these plays lately. And the defense as well. The defense, the rebounding. Avdija had 12 rebounds tonight, 3 assists, 3 steals. Did have 4 turnovers, but 9 for 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. So 8 for 12 inside the arc. Only got to the line 1 time, which is pretty low for him, but got to the rim, man. Got to the rim, got downhill, consistently creates advantages, and had a and one there in this game, which was nice to see, man. It's nice to see him come back and just be able to pick up where he left off, because he was the best Blazer for a month and a half. Now, with how Scoot's playing lately, we're going to have an interesting conversation in regards to, this time frame. Who's the best Blazer right now? I don't know, because Scoot Henderson is playing great. But Deni Avdija, for his own right, playing really, really well right now. We got some members Q&A. Once again, it's members night. If you want to become a channel member, click the join button below the video. You'll have access to perks. I'll go through them in a little bit. And if you're not a channel member and you asked a question in this Q&A, I'm sorry, I'm going to ignore it. I will answer it if it's in the live chat, but this is a members-only Q&A. So we got Alex Wolf says, what is the best-case realistic scenario as far as the best lottery odds this season? Let's just take a look at that updated picture real quick. We won't do a Tankathon sim or anything right now. We will wait for that, but let's take a look at the picture as it lies. The Blazers definitely didn't help their odds. They actually moved down a spot, so they went from 6 to 7 today with the win. Brooklyn lost today. You have New Orleans, who's won 6 out of their last 10, so they're a team that Portland can catch. You have Charlotte. They've won a couple in a row. Portland's only 2 games behind them, and they do play them coming up on, let's just look at the schedule here. The Blazers play the Hornets Friday the 24th. That's a road game, so we'll see how that game goes. That game could be monumental for lottery positioning at the end of the year. I think it's going to be tough to catch up with Utah and Toronto, but best case scenario, I can see Portland getting all the way up to 2 if they really tank hard. They're only 4 wins off Toronto, and we've seen this team expertly tank in previous seasons. But I think realistic upside is probably 4th best odds, where they won't catch Washington, won't catch Toronto, won't catch Utah, but will catch other teams, New Orleans, Charlotte, Brooklyn. So that's the tanking picture right now. The next question we had was from Brandon, who says, which players have to be traded before the deadline? I think Deandre Ayton has to go. His body language in this one continued to look bad. I mean, I had a tweet, all right? When the Blazers decide to run their offense through Deandre Ayton, their offense becomes a disaster. This dude, will post up in the middle of the key when the ball's at the top of the arc, which is such a difficult entry pass. He doesn't seal off well, but he won't have position, and he'll still be calling for the ball, which I think is funny. But had a stretch there where he missed a couple bunnies around the rim. He's much better as a play finisher. Scoot on some of those dump-off passes, those are the shots that Deandre Ayton hit. The shots he didn't hit was a lot of the post-up stuff, and he's just not a good post player. And then also had a play where he faced up and just got the ball ripped out of his hands. He got rim checked on a layup. He's just not good offensively, man. He's just not good. And then when things start going bad, he is the worst in terms of letting it snowball into bad attitude and him getting in his own head and starting to pout and visibly show it. And it's not a good example for a young rebuilding team, and it's kind of sad how you have young 20, 21-year-old players on this team that when things are going bad show more resiliency than Deandre Ayton. But we're not going to make this a long-winded Deandre Ayton rant like streams past, because I've ranted quite a bit about Deandre Ayton. You guys know that. I mean, it just is what it is, but I think it's why he has to go. He's not a good example making that big contract. But the tough part with the conversation about who has to go is like, all right, if he has to go, what if you have to attach a first to him? Do you do that, or do you just hang on to him and bench him for the rest of the year? So I don't think anybody has to go. Obviously, we want to see Ayton, Grant, and Anthony Simons just clear the deck for the young guys and move forward from there. Hopefully get some flexibility. Hopefully get some assets. But, yeah, I mean, those are the three players, and Thibault doesn't really have a place on this team. You can get more flexibility if you get off his contract. If you're looking to clear cap space in the offseason, you're looking for expiring contracts. But, yeah, it's a tough conversation because Ayton is the number one answer in terms of who has to go, but you might have to attach an asset to him, which doesn't really make sense in a rebuild. So it's just a weird position to be in. Embarking Box asks, if the Blazers get a late first this draft, who would you take? Danny Wolf is intriguing. I think he could be a nice change of pace backup center to Klingon long term, and he's projected late first. So if the Blazers were able to trade for one, that's a guy that I'd definitely take a chance on. He could maybe be our version of Naz Reid behind our version of Rudy Gobert. David Lester asks, is mentioning Denny going to have to be a part of the full tanking part of the season? Absolutely. I absolutely expect the Blazers to bench him if they're trying to lose games in March and April, because this team is just simply much better with him on the floor, and he just brings the little things. He brings the defense, he brings the rebounding, he plays hard, he pushes the pace, and he consistently gets downhill and gets to the rim on possessions where the offense is discombobulated or needs somebody to create something. And I think that's why the offense struggled without him. You know, he's been very efficient, so of course that helps, but it's just his skill set offensively too. This team gets very jumper happy at times, especially when he was out. You know, Sharpe will shoot his jumpers, even though, you know, today he had some buckets there in the second half, but he started off this game missing quite a few jumpers. And then Anthony Simons, we know he's very jump shot reliant. Scoot Henderson can get downhill. He's been making his jumpers lately, so that's great, but Denny Avdija is a huge boost for this team because he's not jumper reliant. He can have games where he doesn't make a three. He can still have a very efficient scoring night and put 20 on the board because he'll just get downhill, he'll punish defenders, and he'll collapse the defense. And when he kicks out of that, a lot of times guys will get better jump shots than when he's not on the floor. So he's just a huge help to both sides of the ball and the boards. And if the Blazers are going to try and tank and lose games, it definitely is going to make sense to sit him at some point. But he knows that. He's been in Washington, so that's all he knows. He's never played in a playoff series, right? The Wizards didn't make it his rookie year. Yeah, so they'll have to sit him to properly tank. Brendan Smith says, do you think this run from Scoot is real and can be sustained this season and beyond, even if the stats drop just a little bit? So let's have a quick conversation about Scoot. Of course, we'll talk more about Scoot when Eric gets here, but thank you, Brendan, for the question. I don't see why it's not sustainable, right? He shot 32% from three last year, but started the year 2 for 21 from three, and then started wearing contacts, started seeing better, and shot like 34.5%. Now he's up to close to 36%. I think he's 35%. I mean, that's pretty much right in line with where he was last year after he started wearing contacts. You know, he was never that bad of a three-point shooter. He was just really rough to start his career. But the form is looking better, and that's why I buy it. The form, the shot is looking better. He's shooting the ball confidently. You know, he missed a couple open threes in this one, missed a couple short. But if defenses are going to continue to give him wide open jumpers, I feel very confident with him shooting the ball. And he seems like he's going to start making defenses pay for that, which is really, really good because it's going to open up stuff for him. But also, he's just playing with a level of pace and control that is really good to see out of a 20-year-old guard that he struggled with last year. I just think like the improvement is clear, and this is what I talked about when I said, you know, I think it's going to take Scoot 15 to 20 games, and then he's going to start breaking out, and then he's going to start having a second-year jump. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but this is what I expected from Scoot. The ball handling has obviously improved. He had a drive where he had a really clean, sharp left to right between the legs crossover at speed in traffic. That was one of the best crossovers I've ever seen him do. Like, his ball handling is leaps and bounds better than last year, where it seemed like he couldn't even dribble the ball normally without fumbling it. Now he's having these setup moves with like a little double between the legs, like triple between the leg moves, like his size ups. If you don't know what that means, it basically just means when you like go one-on-one against a defender. His ball handling is looking a lot tighter and a lot more secure, and he's starting to be able to get to spots on the floor because defenses are starting to respect his jump shot, and because his handle is tightening, and because he's not just blindly driving into traffic. He's clearly seeing the floor much better. So I absolutely buy what Scoot Henderson is showing, and this is why I preached patience. When people were already calling him a bust his rookie year, people were calling him a bust to start this year, and it's funny because he's putting together these games, and you look at social media, and there's a bunch of people saying, oh, he's finally arrived, and it's like, he's 20. What do you mean finally? He has all the time in the world. So this is the best development so far this season, is Scoot Henderson's play as of late, and it's to the point where, like, yeah, he might have a game where he doesn't shoot the three ball well. And this game was 3 for 8. You know, that's, 37.5%. It's still decent, but he's been shooting the ball crazy hot. But in this game, he gets to the line 8 times, he gets to the free throw line more, and he's driving the ball pretty confidently. Still, here and there, we'll have a couple finishes that he misses that he should finish, and a couple bad turnovers when he gets stuck. And he had 4 turnovers in this game, but he had 8 assists. Basically, anything above, anything with a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio and better, I'll take, right? The more passes you make, the more you're going to turn over the ball. The more you collapse the defense and create for others, the more you're going to get stuck and have a turnover here and there, right? That's why we look at assists versus turnovers when trying to judge, all right, is this guy just a loose cannon and turning over the ball too much and not compensating with actually making good plays for others, or is he making enough plays for other people that you can live with his turnovers, right? There's a big difference between somebody that'll get, 1 assist and 4 turnovers versus 8 assists and 4 turnovers. Now, sometimes guys will miss shots, so you're not going to get assists, but you're making good plays, so it's not just looking at the assist number. But I think in general, Scoot, he'll still have some young player mistakes. He's still 20. He's not going to graduate from making some bad mistakes here or there. You just want to see the consistency and the flashes become like consistent production, and that's what you've seen the past few games. The 3-point shot is legit, but I also just really like the pace that he's playing with. I like the way he's getting to the free throw line, and I like a lot of his passing. There's been games recently where he's had 6 assists, but he had 17 potential assists, which is basically like he would have potentially gotten an assist if his teammate made the shot. So he's making some really good reads, really good passes for a 20-year-old point guard. And I don't think he's, at least if this version of him becomes a consistent version of him, the version of him that we've seen as of late, I don't think he's behind schedule in terms of his development. I think maybe you could look at it last year that he was behind schedule, but this play as of late is kind of what I would have expected from Scoot Henderson in year 2. And if you just look at his last 4 games, 39 points on 13 for 18 from the field, 8 for 10 from 3. 16 points on 6 for 14 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3. 21 points on 6 for 11 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3. And then tonight, 25 points on 8 for 15 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. And he's been the player of the game 4 games in a row. 4 games in a row. You look at his assist numbers in those games, 6, 6, 11, and 8. So he's averaging, 23 points per game and probably like 8 assists the last 4 games. I mean, that's really, really good for a 20-year-old, right? But it's a 4-game sample. So he's playing really well. I do expect there to be some games where he has some growing pains and people are going to start worrying about this being an aberration, right? I expect him to have a bad game here in the next 5 or 6 games or so. And the narratives are, of course, going to be, oh, he's back. That was fake. He's back to the Scoot that we saw before that run. But the 3-point shot, he's shooting 45% from 3 in January, So obviously he's not going to shoot 45% on the season, and he's probably never going to shoot 45% on a season. But the fact that he can have a stretch like this where he shoots this well is a really good sign. It's a really good sign. So I love him, man. I love it. He has 4 straight games with double-digit threes, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. He's still 20. Like, go watch Dame when he was 20. Go watch Anthony Simons when he was 20, right? Scoot, right now, this is a better stretch than, like, either of those two guys were capable of at the same age. So you just got to hope he continues to build on it and continues to develop. I think people wrote him off too early. I think he's going to figure it out. I've been preaching patience this whole time on Scoot Henderson, and I love to see what he's doing as of late. Shout out to Shapel Perilous, another channel member. He says, how much wood can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I almost did it. Shout out to Dallas. Says, how long do you think Chauncey benches Sharpe, or do you feel like it's a one-game type of thing? Here's the problem. Like, if Ant comes back, Scoot's playing this well, are you going to bring Scoot off the bench? Probably. They've shown that they're always going to start Ant. So then who else are you going to bring off the bench? You have to bring Kamara, Grant, or Avdija off the bench in order to start Sharpe and Simons. Or you start playing Avdija at the center spot, which is, I don't know, interesting, I guess. But they have lineup questions, and they're going to have weird stuff with their starting lineup anyway, just because of the way their roster's made up. So that's the reason why it would be really good to move off of Jeremy Grant and Deandre Ayton and Anthony Simons, even if they don't get back a great return, because then it's very simple going forward. Like, Scoot, you're a starting point guard no matter what. You're a starting point guard. Sharpe, you're a starting 2 guard no matter what, right? Like, but, you know, if you got to hold effort accountable, you got to hold effort accountable, right? And then Klingon, you're our future starting center. Avdija and Kamara are starting forwards, right? For the rest of the season. Of course, the Blazers are going to draft somebody. Hopefully, they draft at the top of the draft. And if they get a really good prospect, that guy might start next year over someone. Right? If it's Cooper Flagg is probably starting over Tamani Kamara under a new coach. Because a new coach is not going to bench Danny Avdija. But Kamara off the bench is not a bad thing if you have 2 better forwards than him. Right? That's kind of the point of this rebuild, is so that a guy like Kamara doesn't have to start because he's your second best forward. He can be a really, really great piece off the bench. Anyway, those are all the member questions that we have right now. Once again, it's Members Night. So if you're a channel member, ask a question in the Q&A or click the join button below. Also, hit the like button. I don't ask for likes enough. We got 38 likes in here. We got 251 people watching the stream. So only about, 15% of you have hit the like button. It's the easiest way to support the channel. So go ahead and hit that like button. The player of the game, Scoot Henderson, almost had a triple-double today. One player of the game with 74% of the vote. Danny Avdija got 23%. Scoot Henderson, 25 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Just filling up the stat sheet. The past couple of games, he's had some nice offensive putbacks, too. I think he's playing hard. He's hustling. He had a couple steals today. He had 3 blocks yesterday. So I just love the way that he's filling up the stat sheet right now. We're going to do a Tankathon real quick right now. We'll see if we can get lucky without Eric, all right? We have not had good luck lately. Let's simulate it. Let's scroll up. You guys know the deal. 14 Atlanta, 13 Houston, 12 Golden State, 11 Detroit, 10 San Antonio, 9 Chicago, 8 OKC via Philadelphia. Portland's supposed to be at 7, and at 7 is Brooklyn. Would you look at that? We finally moved up. We finally moved up on a solo stream. At 6 is New Orleans. And at 5 is Toronto. So are we 4th again like we always are when we move up in these Tankathon sims this season? Or do the Blazers get the number 1 pick on the solo stream? Let's find out. At 4 is your Portland Trail Blazers. At 3 is Charlotte. At 2 is Washington. At 1 is Utah. I mean, at least we moved up, but of course we always get 4, man. It's not even suspenseful. We cannot get 3. I think the last time we had 3 was like early December, which is crazy. It's crazy. But at least we moved up. I'll take it at this point, given how long it's been since we've simply moved into the top 4. Chico says, hoping for top 2, but top 4 will do. I'm just hoping for top 3. Like, Ace Bailey would be intriguing on this team. I mean, Jakob Jonas is my 4th best prospect pretty easily, but he's a guard, right? So I don't know how you really make that work, but... Anyway. Chat, I'll answer your questions, and if more members have questions, you can put it in the members Q&A. I'll answer all those. Connor Missing says, am I dumb? Why can't I ask my very important member question? You can ask it in the chat if you can't figure out the Q&A. But you should, where it says live chat, you should be able to go to where it says questions. We've got another question from Brandon. He says, if the Blazers get a top 4 pick next draft, do you think they tank again next season or just start going for it? I don't think... They don't decide to tank at the start of the season. They play out the first, 50 games of the season. They're bad. And then they're like, all right, let's pull the plug. Let's tank the rest of the year. So no matter what happens, I don't think they start next season without the mindset that they're not going to go for it. I think they start next season, just like they've started these past seasons, trying to win games. Now, will they win more games with the top 4 pick? And if they clear the deck of their vets, I don't know. Hopefully Scoot takes another jump. But got to start somewhere, right? It would be probably the best thing to win a championship long term if they got a top pick in this draft and a top pick in the next year's draft. Right? It would be nice to see this team make progress behind young players, though. I don't want to see this team winning games because of Deandre Ayton or Jeremy Grant or whatever. I want to see this team winning games because Scoot becomes a 20-10 guy. Shout Alex Wolf says, should Cleveland make a move? I mean, if you can upgrade that 5th starting spot, I think you do it. But I don't know if there's anything out there that makes a whole lot of sense. Blaze the Nugs. If you're a channel member, I'd read it off. But since you're not, I'll just say, yeah, it is funny. It is absolutely funny. David Ben Ari says, Denny brings out the inner fighter out of his teammates. His energy is infectious in a good way, and he really shares the ball correctly. He should probably share it a bit less. Yeah, man, he's kind of becoming the heart and soul of this team, right? Him and Scoot lately, they definitely pick up the energy level, and it's in contrast with guys like Deandre Ayton. And the good news is Deandre Ayton's a vet who's going to get moved at some point, and the good news is Scoot and Denny are a part of this core, and I think provide good leadership. Chauncey was asked about Scoot's leadership. Scoot was asked about it in his postgame press conference on the floor by Brooke Olzendam. And Scoot, I think, is that really vocal leader. I think Denny is kind of a vocal leader, but also just leads by example with how hard he plays. In the way he plays. He just plays the right way. So it's really good to kind of have that established. And we had a conversation earlier this year about, all right, who's the Blazers leader going forward? And the thing with Scoot was all right, he needs to play better in order to really be a leader, it feels like. He can't come out here stinking up the court every night and be a leader, because how can he lead? How can teammates look at him maybe throwing games, struggling, turnovers, missing a bunch of shots, not running back in transition defense, some of the problems he's dealt with early in his career. How can teammates look at him trying to lead and fully respect that? But when he's playing like this and playing this hard, he's naturally a leader. So that's a good thing about Scoot. If he pans out, man, I think he can be that vocal leader. He can be that guy that sets the tone, that is the offensive engine, that also plays defense, that also hustles. And Denny, of course, as well. I feel a lot better about the Blazers' leadership right now than I have at any time since they traded Dame, because of Denny and because of Scoot. And that's also part of the reason why I think you have to move on from Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant. Because Jeremy Grant, even when Denny was playing really, really well, was still starting ahead of Denny. And Anthony Simons has started ahead of Scoot. But if you're trying to build a culture, right? If you're trying to build a culture, if you're trying to build an identity that we're a team that's going to fight, that's going to play hard night in, night out, that's going to play with energy, that's not going to mentally fold at the first sign of adversity, then it's good to have guys like Scoot and Denny starting and setting the tone for that, because they will. Grant, Simons don't really set that tone. They would be better on other teams where the other team's identity is already set. They already have their leadership in place. They already have their locker room kind of the way they want it, and they're adding those guys to that. That is better for both Grant and Simons. I would say it's better for Ayton, but I don't think he'll conform to anywhere he ends up. I just think he'll always find a way to be unhappy or pout or do his own thing. So that's a positive to clearing the deck. Everybody's going to focus on the assets that the Blazers get back for Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant, and rightfully so. But there is an element of addition by subtraction. I keep saying it. Not only do you clear the minutes for the young players, but also you give Denny and you give Scoot a more prominent, consistent role. I think that's good for the locker room. I think that's good for the rebuild. That's good for the identity. That's good for setting the tone moving forward. All right, now it'd be good to go out and get a veteran or two that holds themselves to a high standard, that will hold the young players to a high standard, that will be a vocal leader, the Udonis Haslem type of guy. Maybe it's somebody that's better and can play a few minutes off the bench, whatever. I think that is the type of vet you want. And that type of vet doesn't take away from Scoot Henderson. It doesn't take away from Denny Avdija. Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant just aren't those vets. So I think the first step is clearing the deck. You want to try and go into asset accumulation mode with hopefully some flexibility that you get from moving off your highly paid vets. And then with that flexibility, you can identify veterans to try and bring in, whether it's free agency, via trade, whatever, that you think can supplement the locker room, that can help with the rebuild. I think it's very important for the Blazers to figure this out by the start of next season. Blaze the Nug says, Scoot yelled at DA 3 times after one possession tonight where DA was pouting and DA just ignored him. Send DeAndre to China now. Did anybody else notice that? Because I don't know the play that you're talking about, but assuming that's true, because it sounds like it would be true, there's the perfect example for everything that I just said of why you got to get rid of him or why you got to bench him and not play him. Because why is your 20-year-old having to pick up your max contract vet? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You should not have your 20-year-old having to be the veteran mentor, like trying to help a guy not pout his ass off, who's been around the block, who's on his second contract, who's 26, 27, whatever he is. It's lack of maturity from DA, and it's maturity from Scoot, man. Scoot trying to lead, and DA, it's just the roles are reversed. That's crazy to me. So maybe it's a good thing that Scoot's being challenged with his leadership by dealing with a malcontent like that. I mean, you could look at the silver lining of it, and you could look on the bright side of things. Like, all right, yeah, that's what Deandre Ayton is good for, man. He's good for challenging Scoot's leadership because he's pouting, and it's giving Scoot an opportunity to try to pick him up. But also, it's like DA just ignoring him, man. I mean, I can't speak for the players on the team. Obviously, I don't know how they feel. But if DeAndre Ayton was my teammate, I would hate playing with him because of crap like that. I hate playing with guys that are talented, have one or two things go wrong, so they start compounding that by making defensive mistakes or not hustling on defense while everybody else is hustling. And then you try and pick them up and they just ignore it. It's kind of disrespectful to the team that you're on the floor with. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if his teammates can't stand him at this point, but it's like if I'm Scoot, man, and I'm trying to pick this dude up and he's acting like that, that'd piss me off. That would piss me off. So I've just always wondered what some of the teammates and the organization in general, how exactly they feel about Deandre Ayton, because I don't think it can be a good sentiment. But, I mean, this is what Deandre Ayton does, so should have expected it. Like, this is not a surprise, unfortunately. Anyway, that's the end of that chat. I'm not going to go in further. Shout out to, we got a donation in the house. Let's go, man. Shout out to Brandon for becoming a starter member. Shout out to PDX Papermaker, member for 31 months. Sorry, I'm just seeing these member messages. It says, SCOOT is hooping. Great having Denny back, too. Yeah, those two players give me life, man. Those two guys give me life. Those two guys, when they play like this, have me excited for post-game shows. You know, it's tough tanking, but I still expect it this year. But if Scoot's playing well like this, it's going to be a lot more palatable. If Denny's playing during it, they're probably not going to tank too well, but he's so much fun to watch. Thank you for being a channel member, PDX Papermaker. Jack M with a $5 donation says, I read off all donations, all right? What were the meringue takes that people are referring to? I don't follow him. Hope all is well, Tori. Chat, you guys can say whatever those takes were in chat. I don't really pay attention to that. But if you guys have watched the channel long enough, you know how I feel. But you guys can discuss it amongst yourself in chat, you know. Eric doesn't like it when we discuss those takes in chat, but I'll let it slide, you know. I'll let it slide. Because I'm also kind of curious. What is acceptable compensation for DA in a trade at this point? An expiring contract. If you can trade DA for an expiring contract, that's a win right now. They should have did it at last year's trade deadline when it was maybe a little bit easier. Like, I will celebrate if they trade Deandre Ayton for an expiring contract. Honestly, if they attach a second or two to Deandre Ayton for an expiring contract, I will still celebrate. I will still celebrate. Because you're just solving a problem. The thing is I'd rather use second-round picks to solve a problem than trade second-round picks for cash like we did last year. Because what problem are you solving? You're not solving any problems. You're just padding Jody's pockets. Right? Or wherever the money goes. Maybe it doesn't go to Jody's pockets. I don't really understand the whole ownership structure. But the point is like, all right, that's better than trading them for cash. If you can solve an issue, you can always buy your way into the second round anyway. So I think attaching seconds to Ayton for an expiring contract is acceptable as well. Because I do think he has negative value on his contract. And also it would be a good sign because the Blazers admitting like, yeah, this didn't work out. We're ready to move on. Even though like we made him a part of the Dame trade and spoke highly of him when we brought him in. It would show the front office's ability to admit their own mistakes quickly and move on. Which would be a good sign. So the only way I'm not celebrating if DeAndre Ayton gets traded is if they have to attach a first round pick. But if it's something like they attach the 2029 first, that is the worst of three teams, and they get back their own first from Chicago and offload DA to Chicago, then great. You know what I mean? So let me know what you would trade Ayton for. Let me know what the baseline is for you. Because I feel like the bar, everybody thinks like, how much do we need to get back? I think the bar for Ayton is how much should we be willing to give up to get rid of him? It's a different conversation. Braden Tennis says, how much patience does Scoot deserve compared to a Rupert or Sharpe? I mean, I think they all deserve patience. They're all very young. You know, it's Rupert is what, 20? Is he still 19? I don't even know. He was very young coming into the league. He's in year 2, right? So he's not even playing. So there's not even any patience to give him because they're not even playing him. Sharpe has shown progress. Sharpe has shown progress, and Scoot's showing a lot of progress right now. That's all you're hoping for. So it's really easy to be patient when they're showing progress. And they're showing progress at an acceptable rate. Scoot, maybe not earlier in the season, but his play as of late is good. I'll read off the other member messages here in a second. Let me go back to the live chat. Eric should be here very shortly. And before I look at the other member messages, I want to give a shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this post-game show. Once again, if you want to get in on the action, any sports action, use that promo code on the screen, YouTube150. It'll give you 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonuses on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. The NFL playoffs are underway. The conference championships are next weekend. You got the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Washington has a chance to make the Super Bowl. That'd be cool. That's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for them to win it all. I'm rooting for them to play the Bills. That'd be a fun Super Bowl. No more Chiefs. No more Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was sitting with Caitlin Clark at the Chiefs game. What a power duo that is. But yeah, you can get in on the action with NFL, NBA, any overseas league. BetUS is your number one sports book. For all your betting needs, bet responsibly. We're going to take a look at the odds for the next NBA coach fired later on in the stream, because it's interesting. And I'm sure you can guess why. And we'll lead into it with the Shaedon Sharpe conversation once Eric gets here, with Shaedon Sharpe coming off the bench today. All right, I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. Pink Difference says, I would trade Ant before DA. I wouldn't. I mean, Ant's body language is nowhere near as bad as DA's. He's not as much of a locker room problem as DA. You can also go small. You can't really play DA with Klingon. Claude DeCourcy says, DA was yelling at Shea, then started complaining to the coaches about Shea not passing the ball to him. I wonder how much of this Eric noticed going to the game, because he went to the game. That's why he's not here yet. I wonder how much of this he potentially noticed. And it would be really cool to have that conversation for him. But if that's true, if DA's yelling at Shaedon to give him the ball and then complaining to the coaches, I mean, like, he is Raymond Felton GP 2 weeks territory. I will boo him when he returns to Moda Center as an opponent. I didn't like him in the first place, and yeah, this is just the type of stuff he does. Oh, but maybe Portland can fix him. Can we just agree, to anybody watching this stream, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching it back after the fact, I'm going to look into the camera, okay? Okay, because we need to come to an agreement. Okay? We need to stop being over-optimistic in regards to fixing players. Okay? Please do not argue with me about, the Blazers can fix someone. Because I feel like every time somebody says that to me, it never happens. The Blazers can fix Cam Reddish. He was a top 10 pick for a reason. I mean, you can even throw it back to the Blazers can fix Thomas Robinson. But yeah, the Blazers can fix Cam Reddish. The Blazers can fix Mario Hezonja. The Blazers can fix DeAndre Ayton. Those guys had been in the league for 4 or 5 years and proven exactly who they were. And they were no different in Portland. There was even a little bit of that with Justice Winslow, who was horribly inefficient in Portland. And for some reason, people acted like he's good. If guys have proven who they are, please do not get over-optimistic with, like, Portland is the perfect situation to fix them, because I heard so much of that with DeAndre Ayton. Portland was never going to fix DeAndre Ayton. They don't have any locker room leadership to rebuild. He just wanted to come here so he could be the number one option in an offense, and then he was never even the number one option in the offense because he's not good enough to be a number one option in an offense, and this is the result. Now he's crying about the ball not being passed to him, supposedly. So let's just stop pretending like Portland can fix players. It just never happens. It never happens. Like, what is the best example of somebody who's been in the league for multiple years, had problems, whether it was they're not very good or have attitude problems for years, and then they come to Portland and Portland fixed them? When was the last time that happened? When was the last player that happened with? You don't have to fix Ayton. He is good already. Brother. His attitude is horrendous. He pouts. His defense is awful. He doesn't box out. He ignores the coaches when they yell at him to box out. And his offense is soft. His offense is soft. He doesn't get to the free throw line. He doesn't shoot threes. He can't dribble. He's not a good passer. What do you mean he's good? What is he good at? What is he good at? Yeah. We made Nurk an elite center. See, but like Nurk was... We traded for him in the middle of his second season. He had already shown flashes. Like, that's different. If you're trading for a, like, young player who maybe hasn't gotten enough opportunity to prove what they are, then that's different than trading for somebody that's gotten all the opportunity in the world to prove exactly what they are, which that was Mario Hezonja, that was Cam Reddish, that was Dennis Smith Jr., right? That was Deandre Ayton. So, like, if the Blazers went and got Jarris Walker, right, he's a young player on a good team, he hasn't had an opportunity, that is different. That is a completely different conversation. But that's not the Blazers fixing him, that's the Blazers giving him a chance. When you start talking about fixing players, it's like, oh, this guy has proved this is what he is, and maybe the Blazers can change that. But it never changes. So. Cole, a broken clock is right twice a day. Works Joe says, I hear you, Tori, but Zion will be different. We can fix him. Like, that's why I'm not intrigued by Zion. All his issues in New Orleans, like, why would they not be issues in Portland, you know? And I know that comment is sarcastic, you know, but that's like a perfect example of the next guy I feel like Blazer fans are going to say they can fix. Seth Curry? What do you mean Seth Curry? Seth, what? When was Seth Curry ever broken? The food isn't as good here as Connor's reason for why we can fix Zion. I don't think that's true. Zion will be able to find a place that he likes. Taylor Packer says, I'm learning my lesson from Ayton. Talent that doesn't care isn't worth the investment, so no on Zion. Congratulations to Taylor Packer for personal growth. Because Taylor Packer and us, we always went back and forth on Deandre Ayton. He defended Deandre Ayton. But listen, you learn. You live and you learn. Like, this is the type of guy, it was never going to change. Zion is the type of guy I feel like would never change. I just have no interest in Zion. Like, I want guys that are committed to the game. I want guys that'll play hard. Zion's a good player. See, at least Zion, when he plays, he's a really good player. So you can kind of live with the headache if he's a really good player when he plays, but he just doesn't stay healthy and should be much better, should be much more committed to being a great player. Like, he doesn't stay in shape. I don't like that. Crime Stopper says, yo, just got back from the game, got a selfie with Eric. Nice. Nice. What were your impressions of meeting Eric in person? Let me know. Let me know. Let me see when Eric will be here. Because I'm waiting to have the Shaedon Sharpe conversation for him. We'll answer some more member Q&As. Once again, it's members night. You can become a channel member by clicking the join button below. Also, I want to show you. I'll just put it in place of the schedule graphic. I'll show you what I've been working on for channel members. All right, actually, let's pull it up. Where's that? We'll show you Cooper flags. So I tweeted about doing these prospect notes and that they were going to be ready before this, but the template I originally made, I didn't save, so I had to completely rebuild the template, so that's why these are taking a little bit longer. But channel members will have access to these for different players, and we'll build it out where we'll have different notes. And I might change the template up, but yeah, strengths, weaknesses, information, measurements, stats, and then our notes at the bottom. I probably need to make that section a little bit bigger. And then our rank, my rank, Eric's rank, and then a community rank. I'm going to come up with a way that if you're a channel member, you can submit your big boards through our Discord. I'm going to give everybody that's a channel member roles in our Discord, so make sure you're in our Discord if you're a channel member. There's a link at the top of the description box below. And that way we can see what the Blazers Uprise community ranks each player. But the plan is to build these out for different prospects, which will be pretty cool. I think these look pretty sick. So if you want access to those, make sure you become a channel member. Let me pull up the tiers here real quick, and we'll go through that. By the way, like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We cover every Blazers game. We do post-game shows. Also, we do huge streams for big events. Big events being trade deadline, NBA draft, draft lottery, free agency, you name it, we'll stream it. Trade deadline live stream coming up in a little bit more than 2 weeks. We'll be live that morning with Twitter feeds on the screen. That'll automatically update, and we'll cover every trade across the NBA with, of course, a focus on your Portland Trail Blazers. I am really looking forward to that live stream. Really looking forward to the trade deadline live stream. It's always a ton of fun to hang out and watch stuff go down together. It's an experience like none other, so make sure you subscribe. Put that on your calendar. Tune into the stream February 6th. That's a Thursday. Oh, we do got Eric here. All right, cool. All right, hold on. Let me unmute you. Let me, let's see. Nope, not that one. That one. There we go. What's up? All right, you gotta fix your camera, and then we're good to go.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do. All right, so I'll fix mine too. So I've been. I don't know how much you've listened to. I've been waiting for you to have this Sharpe conversation. Okay. But we've been talking a little bit about DA. People have been talking about stuff that he did during the course of this game. So I was curious, you being in the arena, how much did you watch for DA's mannerisms? And did you notice anything?
I was glued to DA's mannerisms, I guess, if you want to put it that way, most of the game. That's one of the things I was most focused on. He did have his usual pouty self. I did not see the play that Blaze the Nugs was talking about where Scoot went to him 3 times and he ignored him or whatever. I didn't see that at all. I don't know.
Somebody else said that happened too. So
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'd be cool just if someone could clip that play or let us know what point of the game that was. But yeah, so I missed that part, but. Yeah, I mean, he didn't seem engaged for a good portion of this game, even though he got 14 field goal attempts. I don't know what's wrong with him.
I mean, he's Deandre Ayton, you know. It's typical Deandre Ayton stuff. I don't even want to have, like, a huge conversation on that because we've talked a lot about it. But, yeah, it's what I said is if that Scoot thing's true, it's really bad that your highly paid veteran is acting that way and you have a second-year player, a 20-year-old, that is having to try and pick him up and lead him, and he's just ignoring him. You know what I mean? Like, that's backwards. If anything, it should be the vet that knows how to behave that's teaching the young player. Instead, it's the opposite. So that's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, I said maybe it's a good test for Scoot to learn how to lead malcontents. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And I did hear what you say about like Scoot needed to play better to become that leader. So hopefully that's now that he's turning the corner, hopefully that's something that he can do because that is, I mean, he has that like infectious energy that does lead to possibly being a vocal type leader, and it's not like I don't think he'll ever be like a Denny the way Denny came in here and was would like hold people accountable necessarily, but he's the pick you up rah like kind of leader, and I don't think that's bad or anything.
Yeah.
There's a need for both those kinds of leaders, but hopefully it hits a little more when he plays better.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, somebody became a channel member, but their name is in Hebrew, and unfortunately I don't know how to read Hebrew, and then I tried to translate it on Google, and it says it translate to "this Colton Goats." Hopefully that's close. But regardless, thank you. Thank you for becoming a channel member. We appreciate it. Sorry I only know English and can only read English. I wish I was bilingual, but appreciate you.
Yep.
And then couple quick members Q&A, and then we'll get into the Sharpe conversation. Let's see. David, you asked if Scoot keeps up his play, should we still draft a lead guard like Yakuchonis or Serif if they are the best available talent? I say yes if it's clear. I think if it's like really close, then you can go for the player that you think fits better because that'll probably be better for their development if they fit. So, if it's relatively even, I'll default towards fit. But if you're there at 4, I think Yakuchonis is clearly the best player on the board right now, so I would take him. Would you agree with all that, Eric?
Yeah, I say you pick best player available. Like you said, if it's close, like let's just say you have Ace and Yakuchonis close at number 3. Like I'd say take Ace, but short of that, I think both Yakuchonis and Dylan Harper in particular are big enough to play shooting guard or off guard. So they're both combo guards or could be. So you have, assuming you trade Simons at some point, you still need another. You have plenty of minutes for a third guard in there. So I say take the best player available and don't worry about fit until we are good. And then at that point, if you have 3 good guards, you can maybe balance the roster by trading one of them, like we could have done. I mentioned last stream, if we would have drafted Donovan Mitchell instead of Zach Collins or whatever, you could trade one of Dame or CJ or Donovan Mitchell and get huge value for that and be set kind of like what OKC's doing right now. They're, they keep replenishing their asset pool. So yeah, I'm in favor of just taking whoever's the best available if you're at the top there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's like if you're like 7 and it's like Jeremiah Fears or Derek Queen or something. I think you take like the big man, but like I don't think you do that up top in the draft. That's how we've gotten in trouble in the past.
Yeah, like if it's a home run guy, like you take the home run. And that's Yakuchonis at 4, that's Harper at 2. Other than that, I agree. And then let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't skip anything here. Connor Messing wants to know when we will get to see you eat a hot dog on stream.
Well, go back and find the 2019 draft stream towards the end of the second round, and you can see that probably. But
yeah, the playback on that is like messed up for some reason. That was our first stream ever.
Yeah,
we had no idea what we were doing, but it was fun. Yeah, you're gonna have to go back in time for that. I don't think he's gonna do it again. Maybe that's a picks against the spread bet. I still have to eat dude, I still have to eat 2 things on stream, so maybe All-Star break or before then. I'm not gonna forget those. I gotta eat the freaking candy necklace, and Alex Wolf is gonna celebrate that, and then gotta eat the sour candy. We got fried sour candy. By the way, if you're asking a question in the members Q&A and you're not a member, we are skipping over it. You can ask it in the live chat. We might answer it, but if you want it answered, just become a channel member. The lowest membership is like $2 a month. So it's very, very cheap to become a channel member and get access to cool stuff and support the channel and get your question answered. Embarking Box, go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to say hi to Crime Stopper because he said hi in chat. I got to meet him tonight. Got a picture with him. Yeah. Nice. What's up, Anthony? Nice to meet you tonight.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I asked him what his impressions were on you, but I didn't read them if he left them. So.
Well, tell us so good.
Embarking Box says live draft party this year. I mean, that would be cool, man. That would be cool. That'd be a lot of fun. It might be possible. I assume we're going to try and do a live draft lottery party.
Yeah, assuming it's not on Mother's Day, man.
Yeah, it's on Monday, supposedly. So.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, it's still on the 12th.
Nice.
So that's good.
A live draft party at Tori's house.
I wish I had a big enough house for that. Also, I don't want to invite chat to my house. That would be a little sketchy. David Lester says, % chance Blazers make no move at the deadline. I know what my number is. What's your number, Eric?
What was the question again? Sorry, I was reading.
What's the % chance that the Blazers make no move at the deadline? Chat, you can answer as well, of course.
I still think it's less than 10% because I think at the very least a Duop Reith or Delano Banton trade will happen.
Let's just say regarding the 5 vets that are making more than 10 mil.
Oh, okay. All right. If you're talking strictly one of those guys, I'd say I'd probably, as crappy as it sounds, I'd say 50-50.
Yeah, I was going to say 40% chance that they don't move one of those 5 guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a feeling, like, if I had to predict right now, maybe I should do a video on this. It's, if Ant gets traded, it's to San Antonio. If Robert Williams gets traded, it's to Houston. If Grant gets traded, it's to Sacramento. If Ayton gets traded, it's to Chicago. And if Thibault gets traded, it's to Dallas. Although I don't know exactly how they make that work. Those are my 5 like top destinations, if I had to guess. I think maybe San Antonio is the most bold one for Anthony Simons. And for Anthony Simons, it's San Antonio or it's Detroit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Alrighty, you want to have this conversation?
Yes.
So what'd you think of Sharpe being brought off the bench today for defensive reasons?
I don't mind if you're going to hold players accountable. So I agree with that part. But what I don't agree with is the selective accountability. And that's my main problem. I feel like I don't know if Sharpe's defense has been noticeably worse than any other number of vets on the team. And so I can't justify singling him out as the person who should be benched when there's plenty of other players in the starting lineups who have given up on plays. And you've already talked about Ayton's giving up on stuff. So, like, in my opinion, I think that benching one player is unjustified if that's the only person you're going to hold accountable for this stuff.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, there was a good point made because I tweeted basically the same thing, right? And there was a point made like Ayton has been held accountable, but it's more so like getting pulled out of games, not with like starting. But there has been times where like Ayton's gotten benched for an entire half, like right at the start of the second half. You know, the whole Chauncey didn't like his spirit thing. So it's not like the starting lineup's the only way to hold a player accountable, right? So, you know, it's not like Ayton has gone completely free of accountability, but with how much crap he pulls, yeah, it doesn't feel like it's enough. And then like the argument that you can make is that, they have nothing invested in Ayton or Grant, right? So it doesn't really matter, right? They're showcasing them for a trade, whereas Sharpe's big part of their future. So they have a lot more invested in him becoming a good defender or making sure he doesn't, play bad defense. So that's why they brought him off the bench, because he's a part of their future. But I just think the problem you run into there is does the message fully get across if it's only selective for the young guy, if you're not doing it with the vets as well? And that's why the Blazers have to move on from these guys.
Yeah, that would be my counter is if I'm Sharpe, well, there's two ways you can look at it. One, hopefully even if he feels this way, he still uses it as motivation to not have a lack of defensive intensity or whatever it was. So hopefully he responds to the benching and doesn't let it affect him. But I think it's natural if you're a young player to be well, why the hell are you not benching them? I don't care that they're not going to be part of the team in the future. Why? That makes it worse. So I'm part of the future and you're holding me accountable,
Yeah.
but you won't hold these vets accountable. What? To me, I would be a little upset at the double standard, and I would lose respect for a coach who treated it that way if that was the case. For me, I would just be you know what, I'm going to respond because I want to be the best player I can, and I see what you're saying, and I agree with you. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily going to respect some of his decisions in the future, knowing that he's selectively holding people accountable.
Yeah, I just don't even know if any of the young players even feel that way, So,
yeah, I don't. I'm just saying,
but yeah, personally, yeah, I agree with that. I just, the Sharpe look at it that way. That's where I was talking about. I'm curious to know how this team feels about Ayton.
Donnie brings up something that I was going to mention. I forgot. Calling him out in the pregame I have an issue with that too. If you're going to bench him, I understand people are going to be upset and you have to come up with a reason. But to me, that's something that he should have said. I've talked to Sharpe about. He knows what he has to do to get back in the lineup. I'm just going to leave it there. I like to specifically point out something, and then I wish some of our media would be well, Ayton's taken a ton of plays off on the defensive end in recent games. Why is he not coming off the bench then too? So that would be my thing is okay, so you couldn't keep that between us, what I need to work on too. I'm sure Sharpe doesn't care about any of this. It seemed like he responded well with it and stuff like that. But I don't like him specifically calling him out too when this team has a lot more problems than Sharpe's defense. But it makes it seem like Sharpe's defense is the reason we're on a 5-game losing streak coming to this game or something. That's what it felt like to me by him calling that out specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is this isn't a problem if you don't have Ayton or Simons or Grant, right? But, mostly it's Ayton. Because I don't think the other two guys have, obviously had defensive issues where players will look at it with an eyebrow raised. I think it's just Ayton. And this is why you gotta either get rid of him or get him away from the team. Because his body language is not good. I feel like the Ayton situation is slowly becoming a bit of a disaster, and they're doing nothing about it. They have these little bits of accountability here and there, but it's obviously not going to change anything. So, is it helping the team? Is it helping the rebuild to have him play night in, night out? And if so, how? How is it helping anything? You know what I mean? I just, it's a problem. So, and people say, they have no centers. Play Uprise for 35 minutes then. Showcase him, because there's teams that may be willing to trade a second or two. He's actually somebody that you could maybe showcase, right? If he has big games playing 35 minutes a game, you might be able to get something for him. Whereas Deandre Ayton, teams know what he is. So, it's just a broken thing, man. And What do you like if you had to predict, and this is really tough to predict, but if you had to predict what is going to be the resolution, are the Blazers going to trade him this deadline? Are they going to have him spend time away from the team after they don't trade him this deadline? Or do they like not trade him this deadline and keep playing him past the deadline? Like, what one of those three things is going to happen? Because it has to be one of those three things.
Well, if previous years are any indication, I would have to, if I had to bet on one of those three things, it would be he's still on the team, but they find a way to shut him down. Not necessarily just be away from the team, but like mystery injury, like the finger contusion.
Yeah, but like how fast do they do that, right? Like right out of All-Star break? Because they've waited longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, the trade deadline's early this year, so I feel like they could do it right around the trade deadline. I'd have to see where the games line up that week to say specifically, but I have a feeling it would be whenever we last play before the trade deadline. If he's not traded, then he wouldn't play much after that the rest of the season.
Yeah. Would you celebrate if we attached 2 seconds to him for an expiring contract?
I'm not celebrating, but I would.
I'm celebrating. Yeah. I might.
I know you're celebrating. I'm not celebrating a trade of Deandre for an expiring, even without the seconds. I'm happy about it. I'm
really?
Not I'm not like Stotts is fired. Let's drink and cheer and stuff. Like, I'll be happy that they moved him. Very, very happy.
That's like that'd be on par for that'd be on par for like, okay, maybe not on par for like a Chauncey getting fired thing, but it's just to have that headache gone. It's just would be such a relief, and them admitting their mistake and just being willing to move on would be a good sign. Like, I would celebrate that, just not to have to deal with the crap night in, night out from him.
Yeah.
And the disgust that I have for watching his low effort and his awful attitude, getting that out, like, I would absolutely celebrate.
Well, see, for me, like, yes, we can celebrate that, but we were both on the forefront of not wanting to trade from the beginning. So, like,
so you're sitting here celebrating like I told you so.
Not like I told you so, but like I'm just like, I'm still mad that we even traded for him and we have this problem, like, so.
Well, you got to money.
I'd be happy that we got rid of this, but like, yeah.
You got to money.
I mean, we couldn't find a third team for Ayton.
No, of course not. Of course we couldn't. That's what the prize for taking on Ayton was Tamani. So you keep Tamani, you move on from Ayton, and that's why, you win. And that's going to be maybe the justification for it, right? So, yeah, I'm celebrating, bro. Like imagine on a trade deadline stream that tweet comes across. Man, that's going to be the... You know what's crazy? Is we've had such bad trade deadlines that... Just Ayton getting traded for an expiring would be the best trade deadline stream moment in like 6 trade deadline streams.
He's like, best trade ever.
It's sad, man. But like free agency too. Like, what's the best trade or free agent signing that we've had on a live stream?
I mean, like, I went to the bathroom, but we re-signed Norm.
Yeah, we were worried about if he was gonna leave, and then we paid him hella money.
We traded for Norm too.
Yeah, I mean, that was when we was like, yeah, decent trade, but I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
it seemed kind of like a lateral move.
But also, I was happy because I predicted it that morning that he was going to get traded for Rodney Hood and whoever the other piece was in that trade. I forget.
Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, yeah, Gary Trent Jr. Yeah, how do I forget Gary? I predicted that trade that morning, so that was cool.
Man.
But an Ayton trade for an expiring would be better than that for me.
Tori's using misremembering hindsight.
What do you mean?
I had brought up that there was some articles predicting that trade. We had brought that up several streams before that, and then
there's articles predicting all sorts of trades.
No, but I'm saying, like, we had literally talked about that, and you had you had been on the side of like you didn't think that was going to happen, and then
the
now
morning
looking
of,
back,
I got a gut feeling like, oh, I actually think it was a gut feeling, because there's
Yeah.
all sorts of trades that get talked about, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but I thought it was going to happen, and then you were like, no, and then then the morning of, you're like, oh, I
you
predicted.
could be completely making this up and I wouldn't know, and I'd say like, yeah, you're probably right. So
I don't.
because I do not remember,
Who cares?
but
Like,
I mean, it's cool to be able to predict a trade, right? Like, it's cool to predict stuff like Kevin Knox, right?
That was crazy. Yeah.
In GP 2 weeks, that signing, I think, like we kind of had a feeling that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so do you feel like this upcoming trade deadline is the most difficult to predict at this time than like any other trade deadline? Or just most difficult to see what's coming next? Because I feel like with other things, it's like, yeah, they're probably going to be inactive, but hopefully they can do something.
Well, that's the thing, though. If they are inactive and kick the can down the road, are we going to be surprised? No. Right?
Yeah, but also it's like, oh my goodness, they might have kicked it one too many times for their cronies.
But we already, but you and I, in terms of predicting the trade deadline, I think the least surprised we'd be is if we don't trade any of those guys and we just trade like Duop for a second, right? I think that's like the most,
but
or
also
the least
it's
surprised
like
we'd be.
You really you are putting yourself in such a bad spot that it'd just be like crazy. I mean, I guess like the Norm Powell trade came out of nowhere, like we didn't know what to expect in that deadline. It's just like this deadline, they kind of have to do something, and if they don't, it looks really bad. And we know they care a bit about optics, so how exactly is that going to go down? It's just a fascinating thing going in. But, like, I don't know, because I could see them finding a trade for all these guys and clearing the deck, and I could see them doing literally nothing.
Yeah.
So
The thing about it is that gives me pause on saying that, like, I'm expecting them to do stuff is the fact that we're okay in terms of our cap situation in relation to the tax right now. We're not like right up against it like we have been, and we're not over it like we had been too. So like they don't have to make a move to get under that tax or to clear some room to sign some guys at the end of the season or anything. Like they I think they're like $6 or so million away from it. So I have a feeling like that might be, if they don't do much, the justification is that they feel like they're in a good position cap wise, just completely ignoring the opportunity cost of moving a bunch of these guys.
yeah, can we get a Brant bomb sometime before the deadline so we know what to expect?
Yeah.
Like,
dude, I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
I need a Brant bomb. Okay, you say like, I'm not trying to be the next Woj, but Woj retired. All right, so right now, you actually are trying to be like Woj because you don't have any bombs. So we're gonna need a Brant bomb. And then when you say I'm not trying to be the next Woj, that means you're actually trying to be the next Shams. So
I say I'm not trying to be an insider or anything.
yeah, well, you should just stop. You should just put it out there and not even give that caveat. Honestly, like. People know. People who know, and people who don't will still find a way to be like, look at this dude. He thinks he talks to people. So, that caveat doesn't even do anything, so.
What, Tori, like, this is going to sound like I'm arguing with you or knocking you for this, but, like, I completely understand. But, like, I had a lot of good information. You talked me into starting to tweet about it, and so I did, and then that's when it started coming back.
I mean, that was unlucky. Yeah. That was unlucky.
No, I know.
I never said
I never said I definitively tweeted about. I know you said not to definitively
not to tweet so confidently.
Yeah,
that was was not me. All right.
The things I definitively tweeted about all got pushed back, and like none of the other things like I tweeted mattered because I don't.
It doesn't even, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know.
Yeah, it's you know, well, the funny thing is, like, yeah, I pushed for that. And then you tweet something, like, so confident, I'll be like, oh, no, what have I done? If this is wrong, what have I done? So, yeah, you know, it's like having the pride to, like, yeah, we're going to stand on what we say. Like, but at the end of the day, we're just repeating what we hear, right? So it's like we don't have to be 100% confident, you know, because it's like, you know, there's just some of her might be different, but yeah, like, at the end of the day, we just got the streams, you know what I mean? Like, you don't got to tweet. We can just keep it our little secret, you know, us and 243 people watching us right now. Like, so we need some brand bombs. I will make, if you can promise us one, I will see if Krish can make an animation. A brand bomb animation would be sick.
Yeah.
I know you can't promise it.
No, I can't and I'm not gonna fake one. Like, that's why I don't. Like, because I could have just sat up here and, like, been making shit up for the. Sorry.
Wow, we are on a roll.
Yeah. I could be making stuff up, you know, like every once in a while, like, oh, I'm gonna brand bomb and just make it up. But I can't. I'm not gonna, like, manufacture it. It has to be real. And this is what happens. You don't always know. So yeah, like.
I say we make that word a non-curse word in our book.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to stop being so PG.
Farrell Holy says Draymond had dinner with Dame. I would put my life on it that Dame and Draymond had dinner. Now, I found out later Dame had already requested a trade that night, so it was not to get Portland, like, convince Draymond to come to Portland. That was never happening. But they did have dinner, and I'm like 100% confident in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, I did a Tankathon when you were gone. We moved up to 4.
I know you had to do that.
But
you had to do that. Oh, Eric's not here. Let's see.
Yeah, but do we do better with you?
Okay.
All
yeah.
Right.
Let's see.
This is all about you, right? Because superstitions and stuff. All right.
Alex wants me to go to every game now. Well, the luck, I think, is with my daughter, and she can't go to every game. But do we want to win every game?
I mean, if we
won every game, would you take it?
We finished with 54 wins on the season on a 39-game winning streak, I'd take it. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
True.
The channel would double in size, like, over the course of the season if we won 40 games in a row. All the bandwagoners joining us, so yeah, I'd take it. So far it's chalk. 11 Detroit, 10 San Antonio, 9 is OKC via Philadelphia, meaning Chicago moved up. Right, I think that's Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. Chicago moved up. So with their loss today, they move up. At 8 is your Portland Trail Blazers. At 7 is Brooklyn. 6 is Toronto, moving down 4 spots. So 5 is Washington. 4 is Chicago. 3 is New Orleans. 2 is Charlotte. And 1 is Utah. I'd really love to be Utah. 52% chance top 4. Top odds. Were you kind of bummed that they won today? At all? Like, any slight bit of you being like, man, we're going to lose a game.
Well, my daughter after the game was like, sorry they won. And I was like, it's fine. Like, I mean, they're going to win occasional game. The Bulls, we talked about this last night, were one of those games that they could win in their upcoming schedule. I mean, it's good when, I think you might have mentioned this earlier. I think it's good if it's because of, like, Scoot played really well tonight. I think it's good if it's because of something like that and not because, like, Grant scored 40 points or Anthony went off and won us a game, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull the schedule up here. Here we go. So we almost had all red on the left side of this graphic. So close, but we had to win. But, I mean, you got Miami, you got Orlando, you got OKC, Milwaukee, and Orlando. I mean, those are 5 games the Blazers should lose. Maybe I think there's a real chance that they win in Charlotte and then win one of the Orlando games because Orlando's been struggling a bit.
Yeah, but that's the second night of a back-to-back. Thankfully, maybe the Hornets game.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a tough long road trip. They're going to be that Hornets game is their 7th game in 5 days or 5th game in 7 days. So hopefully they're tired.
Why do I have a feeling like they are going to be like it's that OKC game is going to be really close?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just have a gut feeling that OKC game is going to be very, very close, like much closer than we expect.
Although they're going to get home super late Friday night, Saturday morning, and then that's a 3 o'clock tip on Sunday after a East Coast road trip. So those games are usually a little ugly.
Yeah, I don't know. I for some reason I feel like that game's going to surprise us. Like that's what we would expect logically, but illogically, I feel like it might surprise us. I mean, here's the thing: they could also beat Milwaukee at home. They beat Milwaukee on the road earlier this year, and they beat Milwaukee at home last year. So my prediction for the 6 games on the right side of this graphic: 2-4, which would put us at 16-32. They need to start. Like I'm a little worried. Like I'm a little worried about
They're not.
falling out of touch with like the bottom 4 or 5. Luckily, New Orleans is healthy and winning games, but who knows how long that'll last for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they need to tank harder if they're serious.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to sit Denny. This team is just clearly better with Denny.
Yeah.
There was a stat that backed it up that was said on the broadcast today. Like this month, we were like a plus 14 with him on the floor, and without him, we were like a minus 99. I don't know if the numbers. I might be misremembering them wrong, but there was something like that. So this team is just clearly better. He clearly makes this team better, which is a good thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and it makes sense. That's why we gave up 2 firsts for him. So anyway, yeah, we'll answer a few more member questions and wrap up the stream. My voice is starting to doing the solo stream, second night of a back-to-back. A little rough on the voice, you know.
Yeah, sorry. It's always tough for me to get home.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
Let's look at the
Do we have any members' questions?
Yeah. Chris S. Has anyone helped us tank more than Ayton? That's a good question. That's why he's here, right? I don't know. It's hard to say. Certain guys in certain games will have really bad performances that help us lose. We're like 8 Yeah, I'd probably say 8. I mean, what was our record earlier this year? We were like 4-4 without him and 4-13 with him. So if you go off that, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That was the only chat message.
Come on, I see a bunch of members in chat. Or
Yeah.
get your questions in.
Yeah. We had a bunch though. We had a bunch. I answered a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Earlier.
No, I heard that.
There is one thing I do want to bring up in a sec before we wrap up the stream. So we'll continue to take questions, and then we'll be live again Tuesday, Thursday. Once again, let's go back to this graphic real quick.
Are you not doing a stream tomorrow because games are earlier or what?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oops, that's the wrong graphic. Next matchup, Monday. No, it's Tuesday. Oh, I put it
Tuesday.
Monday. It's Tuesday. Hold on. I rush graphics. I love it.
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. So that stream on Tuesday. That stream on Tuesday is going to be a little bit later. I'm not sure exactly when.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Do we make a deal with the Wizards? Let's say we made a deal with the Wizards. This is a question in chat. What would the trade be?
A deal with the Wizards.
Yeah, the question is, do we make a deal with the Wizards? So I made it a question that
Who asked that?
E-Ray Petra.
Okay. Um, I think it's possible we could be part of a trade that involves the Wizards, but I find it hard to believe it would just be a straight across trade between us two because, I mean, we're both sellers, so
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if you saw, but what's the Vivek, the Kings owner?
Yeah.
I guess him and Kuzma were seen talking before the game or something, and then Kuzma
Yeah.
played like 33 minutes. Yeah.
Did you see the Ime and Robert Williams talking after the Houston game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say? Come get me or something?
I don't know. Didn't even seem like that's what he said, but that's what somebody
Yeah.
like lip read supposedly, but I didn't see it. So
Yeah.
did not see it. All right, this update. Yeah, there we go. Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that game will run from like tip off 4:40 to about 7 p.m. Pacific time. The post game will start between approximately 8:15 and 9:15 p.m. Pacific. So it'll be like an hour to 2.5 hours after the game is done. That might
But
be
don't
easier
worry,
for
we'll
some of you
be
now.
there at some point.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there. So just note that. I'll probably put the stream up like at halftime so you guys can come in here and chat while you wait if you want to. But that'll be a call-in night, so you can call in during the stream. Make sure you join our Discord for that, for call-ins, for any mailbags we do in the future. If you're a channel member, especially join the Discord so I can set you up with the members-only chat. And then you can talk about the Blazers, of course, and whatever you want to in the Discord in the main chat. So we got a lot of people in there. You can join that. We're trying to get to 1,000 members because then we can be discovered on like search and stuff. So that'd be cool. So make sure you join that Discord. But yeah, next game. That stream's going to go live a little bit late. And then it's the same exact thing on Thursday. If we go back to the schedule. Thursday, January 23rd. We don't even have an event night for that. It'll probably just be a basic stream. But yeah. That's going to go live also between 8:15 and 9:15 p.m. Pacific, and that's a 4 p.m. tip-off time. So the next couple of post-game streams are going to be later than normal. We got these early start times. Luckily, after this stretch, we are done with early start times for a while, which Eric hates and I like.
Well, it depends on the night.
Yeah, we do have a 5 p.m. tip-off on a Saturday, so it's a Saturday, so it's fine. On February 8th at Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, Sunday is a home game that we play at 3.
Yeah. And then we do have a stretch late February where February 26th we play at 4, February 28th we play at 4:30, and then that Sunday against the Cavs at the Cavs, so we're going to get destroyed. We play at 12:30 p.m. And then the next two games after that, 4 p.m., so that's like a big Eastern road trip. I think that's the last big one of the year. We go east. No, we got another Eastern Conference road trip at the start of April. So, but of course we got the All-Star break coming up in a few games. We got, let's see, how many games do we have before the All-Star break? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13 games before the All-Star break, and about 10 games before the trade deadline. So things are going to ramp up here, and then we're going to have the All-Star break. We'll probably do a All-Star predictions or All-Star picks stream on our second channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. That link's in the description box below. Just go down to the description and click on all those links. Our TikTok channel, since TikTok is still a thing, we're going to be doing more over there. I do like halftime updates there, so make sure you go follow that as well if you want halftime updates. I don't do them for every game, but I do them when I feel like it, so make sure you do that as well. And then let's look at the games tomorrow. Let's figure out what we're doing for picks against the spread.
Or you should somehow get YouTube banned or something and have it all be your fault, but then you also swoop in and be the one that saves it and then claim all responsibility for
Yeah.
it being saved.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty good play, you know. Yeah, yeah. Let me find a way to destroy YouTube, and then I'll fix it. Right? It's kind of like let's bring in Deandre Ayton. Let's break him. Let's make him pout. Let's make him play terribly, and then let's fix him, have him play well, and then claim victory. Yeah, it's a great idea. And then yeah. That's literally what happened. So the funny thing is you'll have people be like, cry more, cry more. It's literally what happened, bro. If you wanna argue facts, fine. But that's literally what happened.
Also, that was so remember a few streams ago when I told Kyle slash whatever other names he's been. I was like, be more creative and come up with a name that's not just the
No,
one.
it's one name and four numbers.
He put Joey 4547. It was been so obvious that's you, but thanks for confirming that just now.
Yeah, and of course it's Anyway,
Yeah.
bro needs to touch grass. Also, when are we starting the Eric coin? Or no, the Brant bomb coin. So that we can get some money and then bomb it.
Yeah, you know what? I am not going to scam the wonderful people that watch our show. No matter how much that would benefit us, I refuse to just flat out scam people that are stupid. So, yeah.
How non-presidential of you.
I don't care if that makes me non-presidential.
Anyway, yeah. I love how I'm going to segue this into a BetUS ad. But shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the post-game show tomorrow. Hold on, let me pull up the proper tab. Here we go. Tomorrow we got early games. Let me hide this. We got early games tomorrow. So Mondays on our second channel, we always do picks against the spread. And we pick the day's games, so that's why you want to go subscribe, because it's a lot of fun. But tomorrow is MLK Day, so I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. I do have a light work day, so I might be able to, let me make this bigger. I might be able to pick some spread lines here. Once again, if you want to get in on spread lines, BetUS is your number one source for that, your number one place to get in on point spreads as well as over-unders. Money lines normally are posted here. They'll probably be here tomorrow. And we pick all these spread lines on our second channel. And chat, we have chat vote in polls, and they have been crushing it lately to the point where you can make some serious money if you tailed chat's picks and use that promo code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonuses on your next two deposits up to $2,000. That's a legit promotion, as good of a promotion as you can find anywhere on a sportsbook. For the games tomorrow, Eric, we got... This is like 11:10 because these are Eastern time games. It's kind of like impossible, right? Because I mean, this is, or no, is this Pacific time? No, this is Eastern time. So we only have one game after 2:10. Yeah, no, I ain't doing that. Hell no.
Oh man.
I think we just skip. I think we just skip tomorrow. I think we take some time off, and then
I need a break from picks anyway.
Yeah, you do. You've been slumping, so little reset here, and then we'll pick games on Thursday. But yeah, I mean, listen, chat has been winning like crazy, right? And it's groupthink, so it's a smart play to use that promotion and maybe get in on some spread lines. Chat won it last year, and chat is winning right now, so our chat polls are a pretty good thing if you want to have some fun and bet on some games and just make it fun. You know, it's creates investment for a game, emotional investment, right? If you want to root for the Rockets for some reason, then you take the Rockets. You take the money line or you take the point spread. If you want to root for the Hornets to beat the Mavericks, you do that as well. I'm already doing that because we want them to catch us in Tankathon race. But yeah, so that's the whole thing with sports betting and sports books. Just, you know, bet responsibly and just make it fun. Don't chase your losses. and enjoy it.
Can you find the next coach fired real quick?
I saw that recently, and it's not up there right now.
Okay.
The thing is, I keep doing like, we're going to talk about this because I see it on there, and then I go and look at it, and it's not there. So, stuff, they always have new stuff all the time, and then they'll like put stuff up, take stuff down, so it's always changing. So it's always fun to go and look at.
Alex Wolf said he submitted a member Q&A.
I can't even view the Q&A anymore.
Just say what it was.
Oh, no, that's it. That's in my... No, that's because I'm in my streaming software. I need to go to the YouTube browser. First, let's think Embarking Box. Read his question. His was first. If you were on an overseas flight and had to be stuck next to Felton or Ayton, who do you pick? Ayton, because maybe he'd entertain me a little bit.
Yeah, Ayton's at least entertaining.
And then Alex...
I don't...
Go ahead.
Just to be fair, I don't think Ayton's like a bad person. I just don't like his attitude on the basketball court.
Yeah.
But you could talk video games with him or whatever. Like, he'd be fine talking to you.
Maybe, if he's having a good day. Alex Wolf says, how far would your pick have to fall for you guys to consider trading down hypothetically? I mean, anything 5 and lower, I would consider a trade down.
Yeah, it just depends on what. Like, if we're trading down for a couple picks in the teens to, like, maximize our chances of taking a couple of players and maybe hitting on one, I'm for that. If we're just talking about trading down for the sake of trading down, like, I don't necessarily think that has to be something you decide now.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, I'm ready to wrap up the stream. Thank you to all the channel members for participating in Members Night. Click the join button below. You'll get access to the prospect notes that we're going to drop between now and the draft, as well as some other perks. You can check them out by clicking that join button. And it's a very easy way to support the channel. You know, the cheapest membership is $2, but there's $5 and $10 memberships to unlock more things as well. So check that out. We appreciate all your support. We appreciate donations. And we appreciate if you hit the like button. We actually reached 100 likes in this stream, so that's cool. Appreciate it. You guys, your support is very important for the channel. I hope you guys know that, and I hope you guys know that we appreciate every one of you that supports the channel, that watches the streams, that comments, that's in the live chat, all that stuff. It's all very helpful for the channel, and we appreciate the community, so thank you for being a part of it. Anything else, Eric?
No, thanks everyone for watching. Sorry I couldn't be here for all of it, but hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the show, and yeah, hope to see you guys after the games this week.
Yep. Shop Bet US. We'll do picks against the spread on Thursday. We'll have that stream Tuesday, which will be a little bit later, the post-game streams. So I just want to remind you guys of that. It's not that we're not going to stream. We will always stream after every game, even if it's a little bit later. We have you covered. 82 regular season games a year. And playoffs. Once we reach it. Because it looks like it's going to be a little while, but the Blazers win today. The Blazers beat the Bulls. They snapped their 5-game losing streak. Scoot Henderson continues to play some really good basketball, and it's cool to see some social media posts of some love for Scoot because it's all been bust talk for the longest time. And now hopefully this is a breakout, man, because it's really cool to see.
And yeah, let me say one more thing. It was awesome watching Scoot tonight in person.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I'm actually saying that out loud.
I know, man. I know. So hopefully he can keep it up, and hopefully this is just a sign of more things to come because he's been terrific. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you again on Tuesday night. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!